What's going on, everybody? Welcome to today's training. My name is Caden here, I'm the CEO and founder of Coach Hayward. Today, we're going to be talking about how to find time to be able to lose weight and keep it off forever. So if you've been struggling with time, if you feel like you don't have enough time in the day, you're struggling putting things together, this is going to be the training for you. Okay, so let's dive straight into it. I want to start out with something very controversial, but you got to hear me out here. We make time for our priorities. Odds are, if we are struggling with time to lose weight, it's because it's just not important enough. And let me ask you this to prove my point. If you had a child or a loved one and you knew they were going to die unless you lost this weight, do you think you'd find the time to lose the weight? No doubt about it. Why? Because it becomes a top priority. So it's not actually about time, it's about making ourselves a top priority. Because when you make yourself a top priority, you make the time work. If you add into your schedule, it doesn't matter how you feel that day. You make sure you get it done. Okay. So I will talk about today how you can easiest ways to lose weight and the fastest ways. But just remember, at the end of the day, it's got to be a priority. Okay. If you're not finding the time to do it, it's probably because it's just not important enough. So that might be something where you want to sit with yourself and get honest with yourself about why you truly want to make this change. Because odds are you might have to have an emotional attachment to why you want to make this change. Because if we say we just want to get fit, we just want to lose weight, whatever it may be, it's just surface level. It's not actually important enough. But if you say you want to get fit and lose weight because, maybe there's a health issue involved, or you want to be around for your kids, or you want to make sure that your kids grow up with an active mom, that is more important, right? That is more sticky to actually stick with it and keep going. So if you're a busy mom, if you're a busy worker, whatever it may be, here's how we get the time. Here's how we lose weight the fastest way possible with the least amount of time. Okay. Let's start with the fitness side of things. Oftentimes, we think that we need to go to the gym for 2 hours a day, every single day. It couldn't be more false. I have clients who lost over 100 pounds in just 5 to 6 months from working out for 30 minutes for 3 times a week in their basements. That's right, 90 minutes a week. I've actually made an ebook behind that called Slim in 90. And if you want that ebook, comment down below in the training, Slim, and I'll send you over the copy for free. Basically, how it works is that instead of going to the gym every single day, spending all this time on doing cardio, whatever it may be, you can make it much more simple. All you need to focus on is you got to go 3 times a week to the gym to actually get progress, to make progress. So let's say Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Okay, you can do it at home, at the gym, doesn't matter, because this method works for full body or with weights. All you gotta do is you gotta focus on the main muscle groups. Okay, you want to spend majority of your time strength training, stressing your muscles. So we'll say about 80 to 90% of the time, you're gonna do that. The rest of the time, you might do a little bit of cardio. So let's say if you go for 30 minutes, you might do 5 minutes of high incline walking, and you bust it out 5 minutes high incline walking. That's gonna be the best bang for your buck to burn the most amount of calories, get yourself warmed up into the zone. And then the 25 minutes, you want to focus on full body movement, strength training. So how that's going to look is we have 3 main muscle groups. We have our chest area, we have our back, and we have our legs. For you ladies, I recommend that when you start out, you start with the legs, and then you go to the back, and then you go to the chest. Okay, so the reason why is because at legs, you'll be able to take all your energy, all the energy that you have for that day, push it right into the legs, get those done. Those are the biggest muscle groups, okay? So what you want to start off with is you want to focus on full body movements to burn the most amount of calories, to hit most amount of parts of your body, right? So what do you think is going to work better? Do you think if you go to the machine and you do leg extensions, right, where you sit on the machine, this is your leg, this is your quad muscle, and you're like extending your legs out, so you're burning this part here, the quad muscle, do you think that's going to be more beneficial for you? Or do you think it's going to be more beneficial for you to do a barbell squat, where you're doing everything, where you're working your core, you're working your glute muscles, you're working your quads and your hamstrings? What's going to give you the most amount of results? What's going to allow you to burn the most amount of calories, lift the most amount of weight, so you can stress your muscles the most and work the most amount of parts in your body? Obviously squats, right? Because those are just working the quads. So we need to be smart with what we're doing in the gym. We need to be smart with our lifts. So that's the first and foremost one, okay, is you want to focus on compound lifts and things that are going to work multiple muscle groups in your body, so that way you can burn the most amount of calories and do it the fastest amount of time possible. The next thing is you want to make sure you really emphasize stressing your muscle. Real growth happens in the uncomfort zone, Okay, when we're uncomfortable, that's where the real growth takes place. So a lot of people will go to the gym and they'll sit there. Let's say you're doing a bicep curl, right? You shouldn't do this, but let's say you're doing a bicep curl. Like, you shouldn't do this exercise with this method. But let's say you're doing a bicep curl and you're stressing the muscle. A lot of people will quit once it starts to get hard, once they start to feel that little pain, that little stress. That's where real growth happens. That's where you need to push through, because when you do those extra reps and you really stress it to about 80 to 90% maximum of your potential, that's where you're going to burn and rip the most amount of muscle fibers so you can get the best results possible. Okay, sometimes we're just not training hard enough, and we just need to train a little bit harder and get out of that comfort zone and get a sweat on. Falling in love with the process is key. It's not about the destination, it's about the journey. That's how you're going to sustain the results. So by doing that extra rep, that extra set, that's going to get you the results you want. Okay, so you want to fall in love that when you are working out, you don't need to stay in there all day long, but you got to be efficient, you got to be effective. So another thing, our phones. You know, I find a lot of people, they'll do a set and then they'll go on their phone for 3 or 4 minutes. If you're doing these lifts here, I recommend, if you're trying to be in and out as quick as possible, do about a minute rest and do about 10 to 12 reps per exercise, like per set. And then you want to do about 3 sets to 4 sets if you can, maybe 2 if you don't have enough time. And then in those, just work it hard. Really, really push yourself to get the best results possible. Okay, so here's an example. Legs, barbell squat, leg press machine, and lunges. Do those 3 there. Do about 2 to 3 sets per exercise. Do about 90% maximum. So really, really, really push it. Okay. Take your time. You can do time under tension. So if you're scared of adding a bunch of weight on to the machines or the barbell squat, you can just slow down. Time under tension. So that way you're going very slow in the movements, and that's going to have more time under tension, which means more stress in your muscles. So that's a method that you can do. And with that there, I promise you that's going to get you way better results than if you were to spend 2 hours in the gym doing leg extensions, leg curls, calf raises. No. Focus on what's going to give you the best bang for your buck. And that is going to be key for woman 40 plus, because what that's also going to do is going to allow you to build a strong base. It's going to allow you to get way stronger, way faster. It's going to allow you to build much more dense, stronger bones. So that way in the future, when we age, if we fall down, we're not going to break a hip as easy, because we're much more dense, much more stronger. And it's going to boost your metabolism. Okay, it's going to build strong, firm, dense muscles, and it's going to boost your metabolism. So when you do lose this body fat, it's way easier to maintain because you have a healthy metabolism because of the way you lift. Okay, so that is key there. Now, when it comes to the back, let's say you get the legs done, right? The back, you can do deadlifts. It's kind of a leg exercise, but you can do deadlifts, bent over rows, and then maybe lat pull downs. That's going to be key. It's the same idea, same reps, same sets, same intensity, but of course, different movements. Okay, so let's go over this again. Legs, back, chest area. Because if you think about it, right, let me give you an example. If you're doing chest, right, if you want to, let's say you want to work your arms. Okay, everyone compliments me because I have big arms. And it's funny because I don't work my arms as much. Over the years, I've never necessarily like focused on my arms. It was always like, let's say, my chest. And what happens is that if you are doing, let's say, if you're doing a barbell bench press, right? Ladies, this is for you too. This is not just guys, this is for ladies. If you're doing barbell bench press, right? And you're pressing it, you're lifting more weight than if you were just doing tricep pull downs, or if you're just doing like cable flies. You're lifting more weight, which is more stress in your body, which is going to be more beneficial. But you're also working multiple muscle groups, because you're not just working your chest, right? If you're on a machine and you're just doing that, you're going to work your chest muscles. Okay. But if you're on a bench press, you got to stabilize yourself. So you got your back's going to be flexed, your traps are going to be flexed, your core is going to be tight and flexed. And then you're also using a lot of your triceps and your shoulders and your chest to get the movement going. That's going to give you the best bang for your buck, rather than having to go do chest flies, shoulder press, and then tricep pull downs. You're going to be in the gym way longer doing that. And when you can just do the barbell bench press, do that for a good amount of sets, really push it, and that's going to give you the best bang for your buck. I've been able to get amazing results without spending so much time in the gym because of these methods. Same thing with my clients. They do the exact same method, and it gets them results they want. Okay? So that's how we do the quickest way when it comes to workouts. And if you do that right, you only need about 90 minutes, maybe 100 plus, maybe 120 minutes per week to get that done. Anybody can find 30 minutes 3 times a week to work out. Okay. If you don't believe me, look at how much time you spend on your phone per day. Look at the insights and you'll find the time. Okay. So that one's out there. And remember, we make time for our priorities. Okay. When you set that standard in line and we cut out all the excuses, we make the time happen. But remember, it's got to be important enough. And you might be struggling with that motivation right now. But honestly, at the end of the day, we just got to get it done. We just got to take that foot forward and start, because otherwise nothing's going to change if nothing changes. We will just put it off, and one day it's too late, or one day we end up in the hospital, or one day we're so depressed and we feel so crappy about ourselves, we finally change. It doesn't have to get that hard. It does not have to get that hard. You can start today for better tomorrow. Let's move on to the food side of things. So for the food side of things, this one's a very common one. First and foremost, I find a lot of people feel like they don't have time because they don't have no structure, right? They feel like they don't have time because there's no structure, there's no routine in place, okay? If anybody tells me they don't have time to work out, or if they don't have time to get their food on track, awesome, what does the routine look like? Do you have a structured routine for your weight loss? Do you have a structured routine for your food? Do you know when you get groceries, what times to eat at? Odds are no. And then it feels like all over the place. And when we don't have structure in place, we're like a chicken with a tail cut off, right? We have all this energy, we have all this motivation to change, but we have no direction to put it in. But if we get our food on track, where it's okay, every Sunday on my day off, I go get groceries and I meal prep for the week. Or it's like, okay, I'm going to count calories. So every single morning, I will wake up an hour earlier. I'll take that time for myself, make the breakfast. Lunch, I'll have it prepped already from the day before. And then supper, I will make the supper fresh, whatever it may be. Okay? There's so many ways to go about this. You can meal prep every single Sunday, which I used to do. It's very helpful if you're, especially, I always say, like, to a busy working woman, make sure if you're going to meal prep, at least get your lunches done for the week. If you have a family, I mean, you can take the time in the morning to make your own breakfast and get that going. Just wake up a little earlier, make that time happen. And then for lunchtime, if you prep it for the week, that way it's out of the way, you can just eat it automatically. And then when you come home for supper, just eat whatever the family's having, but count the calories and work around it to stay aligned with your goals. So there's so many ways, and we do not need to make these 4-course meals when it comes to weight loss. Like, a lot of us think that we have to cook fresh chicken every single night, or salmon and broccoli, and then we got to make, calamari, whatever it may be. And it's like, I used to think the same thing, but it's a lot more simple than that. We can make it very, very simple. Healthy food doesn't always have to take so much time to prep and cook. It really doesn't, if we do it smart, if we have the right strategies in place. Okay. And one of those things is, like, instead of cooking one chicken breast, what if you cook a whole chicken? Put half in the freezer, half in the fridge, pull it out for the next 3 days. Every time you do, take the rest and put it back in the fridge. That's just a small example of what we can do. Okay. But we need structure in place when it comes to our eating. And that's going to buy back so much time, because it's going to make it robotic and it's going to make it very easy to follow along. So that's what I recommend for the food. The last thing you can do is also just count calories. Just wing it as you go. Buy the food that you need for the groceries, like for the week. High protein, easy snacks. Like, you can get tuna, beef jerky, almonds, protein bars, apples, stuff like that. High fiber, high protein. It's going to keep you full. That's going to help so much with your weight loss. And then to have those there, okay, I call it the snack pack hack. All right. If you're very busy, if you're on the go, if you drive a lot for work, having that lunchbox or having that extra snack pack, so that way you're not going to the gas station to eat out. You're not going to the fast food restaurants, because you have that food there prepped and ready. That's going to change everything. A lot of us, the average American, consumes about 300 calories worth of sugar every single day. So if you just cut out the sugary drinks, the oils in our food, and maybe and they just cut back to just drinking only water instead of juices and milk, you should automatically start losing weight by the next week. That should be enough to actually get some results. So as you can see, we don't need drastic changes. We just need to be smart with the changes we do make. I lost 30 pounds from changing nothing, just cutting out a meal and those little hidden calories. So really, it doesn't take that much work, or it doesn't have to be so complicated. We just need to simplify it and get our mindsets on track. Okay, and stay consistent. We need that structure in place. We need something to be tangible so we can measure it, and that way it's not a guessing game. Okay, so that's kind of what the food side of things. Now, routine. I always say with the routine, reverse engineer it. So start with your sleep. Okay, I go to bed at this time and I wake up at this time. Take that and then reverse engineer your routine. I use Google Calendar for my schedule, and every single day I know exactly what to do. It's very robotic. So that way it saves me time, because I don't have to think about what to do. I don't have to put it together. It's already there for me. So if you just sit down one night, take your schedule and reverse engineer it. Find the time, find where you can insert that workout. What times of the day are you going to eat at? When are you going to prep your meals? Things like that. It takes about an hour, not even an hour. It takes about 30 minutes. And then once it's set, it's set. Okay. But remember, it's got to be important enough because nothing changes if nothing changes. So you got to make yourself a priority. You got to get real with yourself. Why do you truly want to make this change happen? Okay. And then just understand that when it's so important enough, when you have a crystal clear vision in mind and you can feel it and you know it's that important for you, every little inconvenience, every little battle, every little sweat, every little like bump in the road plateau, it all becomes worth it because you know how important that change truly is. So you're willing to put in the work to measure that. And it's all about choosing your hard, right? Do you want to choose the hard of short-term comfort, the easy route right now, but then suffer later, health issues, insecurities, depression, not feeling good in your skin, no energy for your kids? Or do you want to choose the path right now of discipline, getting things on track, doing the things that you don't necessarily feel like doing, but you do it anyways because you know long-term delayed gratification that's going to get you to where you want to go. You're going to have the energy for your kids. You're going to be that good role model for your kids. You're going to have a good healthy relationship with your food, which means you're going to have a good healthy relationship with your mental health. So it's about choosing that hard, right? We can't sit in the middle. We cannot. We're either growing or we're dying. So that's that there. Last little tips I would give you here is make sure you sleep properly. If you don't sleep properly, it's going to affect your energy and you're going to be much slower. And then you're not going to really have the time because you're going to have no energy. You'll be very lethargic. Also, by losing weight, getting your food on track and working out, it will give you more energy as well. Okay. So that is the training for today when it comes to time on how to make this weight loss as easy as possible. If you have any questions or if you need help putting that together, join my lifestyle program. You can apply below. There's going to be a link below, or you can message me personally as well on Instagram at coach.hayward or email me coachhayward@outlook.com. But start today for better tomorrow, because I promise you by making this change, it changes every single thing in your life. I hope you enjoyed this training. Make sure you subscribe and I'll see you on the next one.